Well, good evening. It is the 30th of May, the year 2022, a day that we're here as KUTV News to bring you happenings in the country and beyond our borders. Stories from political scenes, business world, and the health sector, not forgetting the sports world. But first, let's take a look at tonight's highlights. President Kenyatta holds bilateral talks with Sierra Leone president on his state visit to Kenya. Mwangi wa Iria, Wajakoya and Reuben Kigame locked out of the presidential race. Politicians warned to refrain from using land injustices for political gain. And 3.6 million bank accounts were closed in 2021 according to CBK's annual report. This is KUTV Primetime News with Mutegi.K.Martin. And in this particular bulletin, we shall be having a discussion on the state of politics with the one and only Omwami Duncan, who is a political analyst, talking to us about what is happening right now and what we are projecting in the future. Join us in the next 1 hour as we inform you on what's happening in the country and beyond. Moses Gitonga is a sign language interpreter. Mutegi.K.Martin is my name. Welcome to the broadcast. Now on to our first story is that President Uhuru Kenyatta held bilateral talks with Sierra Leone President Julius Maada Bio, talks that are expected to culminate into the signing of 7 MOUs aimed at further enhancing relations between Kenya and Sierra Leone.
The elaborate state reception ceremony included a guard of honor mounted by a detachment of the Kenya Air Force and a 21-gun salute. The Sierra Leonean leader attended Sunday's celebration to mark the International Day of United Nations Peacekeepers held at the International Peace Support Center in Embakasi, Nairobi County. The day is celebrated annually across the world in honor of the men and women deployed in peacekeeping operations for their invaluable contribution in bringing peace to the world. During his state visit, President Bio will be the chief guest at this year's Madaraka Day national celebrations at Uhuru Gardens on the 1st of June. Gloria Njoroge, KUTV.
The Council of Governors says that the National Treasury is yet to disburse 83 billion shillings to counties for their 2021-2022 financial year allocation through Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, who has noted that only 17 counties have received their April equitable revenue share. He has also said that 30 counties are yet to receive their April allocation, and all 47 counties their May allocations, and the total arrears owed amounting to 53.9 billion shillings. Nyong'o has called upon the Treasury to release the funds in the first week of June.
On equitable share of revenue, only 17 counties have received their April 22 allocations. With only 4 weeks remaining, outstanding balances amount to 83.5 billion Kenyan shillings. Perennial delays, ladies and gentlemen, have negatively affected service delivery in the counties and has further led to continuous accumulation of pending bills. When you hear the cry about pending bills, it's not because the counties are mean, but because they don't have the wherewithal to pay the bills. This is already threatening the desired smooth transition after the August 22 general elections. We urge the National Treasury to expedite the release of the remaining allocations to counties in the first week of June 2022.
Presidential aspirants today continued to present their papers to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission for vetting at the Bomas of Kenya. Murang'a Governor Mwangi wa Iria caused a scene at the venue when he protested being left out of the presidential race.
The presidential hopefuls continued to present their relevant papers to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) to be cleared to vie for various elective positions. And at the Bomas of Kenya, where the presidential aspirants streamed on their appointed days, there was drama as Usawa kwa Wote party presidential candidate Governor Mwangi wa Iria protested removal of his name from nomination register. While speaking outside, Wairia said he reached the standards and was qualified for vetting as he met all the requirements that the commission had put in place. He blamed the commission for carrying out the process in a fraudulent manner. Other aspirants who submitted their papers for the vetting process include Professor George Wajakoya of Roots Party and Walter Mungare of Umoja Summit Party. Wajakoya, who did not meet the signatures limit, was given an ultimatum until 2nd June to correct the fault. Ruben Kigame's bid to be on the ballot was blocked on claims that he did not meet the commission's requirements. Citing the Madaraka Day celebrations on Wednesday, the process will be postponed till Thursday. William Ruto of Kenya Kwanza and Raila Odinga of Azimio la Umoja will have a date with the IEBC on 4th and 5th respectively. Morgan Okero, KUTV.
Deputy President Dr. William Ruto today led his Kenya Kwanza team in campaigns in Taita Taveta and an economic forum in Kajiado. Ruto and his fellow leaders in the coalition have echoed on their focus on tackling economic problems in the country.
Deputy President Dr. William Ruto led his Kenya Kwanza team in Kajiado and Taita Taveta as they look to garner support for the forthcoming elections. Ruto and his fellow coalition leaders have insisted on focusing on solving economic problems in the country. Speaking at Kajiado, Ruto and his running mate Madhira, Member of Parliament Rigathi Gachagua, highlighted that Kenya's problem is not necessarily illiteracy, but rather a lack of jobs and a poor economic approach.
Leo shida ya Kenya sio ujinga na sio masomo. Shida ya Kenya ya sasa ni ajira vile itapatikana na biashara vile kila mtu atawezeshwa.
The Kenya Kwanza leaders have defended the bottom-up approach to be the best way to achieve their efforts in boosting the economy. Dr. Alfred Mutua echoed Ruto's sentiments on the bottom-up approach, saying that by choosing former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, Kenyans will remain in economic crisis.
Mimi nauliza nyinyi wa Kenya, mnataka tuendelee na hii trickle down model, ati wachache huko juu, ati kampuni kubwa, ati wale wanaojulikana, ama mnasema tupindue tuanze na chini safari hii?
Huyu jamaa wa kitendawili ni project. Yeye ni kupangwa, amepangwa. Akiingia sio yeye atakuwa na miliki, ni wale watakuwa wamemiliki. Kwa hivyo shida zitaendelea kuwa hapa vile vile.
While in Taita Taveta, Ford Kenya party leader Moses Wetangula expressed his confidence in the Kenya Kwanza team winning the election on August 9th.
Na tunataka kuambia ndugu zetu, tumezunguka Kenya mzima, hakuna njia yoyote Uhuru na kitendawili wanaweza kutushinda. Hawawezi. Na tunawaomba mjitokeze mpige kura kwa fujo.
As we enter the second day of the official campaigning period, it's all systems go for aspirants eyeing various political seats who are canvassing their campaigns wide so as to better their chances for a win in the August 9th polls. Eliudu Bonyo, KUTV.
And still on political campaigns is that with the campaigning period now officially open, victims of the 2007 post-election violence have urged politicians to refrain from using land injustices for political capital, saying it is an emotive issue that is bound to stoke disgust and tension among communities.
As IDPs of 2007 and 8 post-election violence, we want to thank our dear President Uhuru Muigai-Kenyatta and the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, William Samoei Ruto, for the coming together during the National Players Conference.
Watuunganishe bila kusabua chama fulani ama kabila fulani. wajue sisi wote ni watoto wao, na saizi tunawategemea wao kwa usalama wetu na kwa umoja wetu katika taifa la Kenya. Pia tungeomba wanasiasa waache cheche za maneno.
We want them to help us very much on the issues of land, because we know land is a remote issue. It is tense. So when the politicians are wanting to use that as a tool to ascend to power and then leave our brothers and sisters, our children, our mothers in problems, I think it does not augur well.
On a sad note, Rabai MP William Kamoti is dead. The legislator perished in a road accident on Sunday evening in Mnarani area near Kilifi town along the Mombasa-Malindi highway. Kimoti has been buried today in his Kaliang'ombe home in Rabai constituency.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has led the country in mourning the departed Rabai Member of Parliament William Kamoti, stating that he leaves behind a strong legacy of development and public service. In his statement, the president said, and I quote, "Mheshimiwa Kamoti leaves behind a strong legacy of development and public service, especially in the area of education, where he initiated several schools in his constituency." End of quote. Deputy President William Ruto also eulogized the late Kamoti. He said, and I quote, "Mr. Kamoti was friendly, hardworking, and diligent. We pray for the family at this sad time." End of quote. The Orange Democratic Movement Party expressed their shock by the sudden demise of their Member of Parliament. ODM leader Raila Odinga condoled with the family, saying, and I quote, "He was an amiable person who got along well with others. His dedication to his constituents and the ODM party will be missed." End of quote. William Kamoti Mwamkele was first elected in office in 2013 in the newly created Rabai constituency at the time. He will be remembered for his strong support on the war on graft, where he highlighted the absence of some ethics and anti-corruption commissioners as a loophole to misappropriation of public funds. The legislator died on Sunday evening, according to an eyewitness who said the accident occurred at around 9:30 p.m. on Sunday evening when Kamoti's car tried to overtake a lorry, but unfortunately hit it, causing his car to roll several times. Kamoti's driver sustained numerous injuries and is fighting for his life in Kilifi County Hospital. The Rabai Member of Parliament has been buried today in his Kaliang'ombe home in Rabai constituency, where ODM leader Raila Odinga and other dignitaries attended. Kevin Omondi, KUTV.
It's time for us to take our first short break right here on KUTV Primetime News. As I promised you, we're going to be having an interesting conversation about the state of politics, not in Ethiopia, not in Sierra Leone, but here in the country, Kenya, in a bit.
Kenyatta University will host over 2,000 student athletes from all over Africa for the 10th edition of the Federation of Sports University FASU Games from 6th to 10th June 2022 at the main campus of Thika Highway. Athletes will compete in athletics, soccer, badminton, karate, chess, handball, tennis, swimming, taekwondo, volleyball, and 5 demonstration sports. The soccer tournament will be used to qualify Africa's representative to the FISU University World Cup Soccer 2023 in Xinjiang, China. There will be a Vice-Chancellor Symposium on 2nd and 3rd June to discuss games under the theme, the role of university sports as a vehicle for institutional development. Come and catch all the actions at the Kenyatta University Sports Ground. Entrance is absolutely free.
Lola ni programu inayokupa fursa ya kutizama video zozote pindi tu unapokuwa na nafasi. Hadithi za kukupa motisha, drama, maisha ya vyuo vikuu, teknolojia, masuala ya jamii, kuzuru maeneo tofauti, spoti, burudani na zaidi. Pata programu ya Lola sasa kwenye rununu yako kwa yote unayohitaji.
Kenya kuna aina tofauti za hali ya anga ambazo huboresha au kuwa changamoto kwa wakazi wa eneo. Kaunti ya Makueni imeibuka kuwa bora katika masuala ya kilimo licha ya hali ya kiangazi.
Maembe huwa tunazalisha nyingi, lakini mtambo kuna ile capacity ambapo hawezi pitisha na hatuwezi chukua maembe yote. In fact tunakuta tunachukua 5-6%.
Kaunti hii imejikakamua kwa udi na uvumba kutegua kitendawili. Ukambani kuna ukame.
Tambo maji ilikuwa ngumu kupata kiasi, kwa sababu kama ni pale kwa mto inapita tu inaenda. Lakini sasa hii kama imesimamishwa itakuwa rahisi kwetu.
Basi kikosi cha Boresha Kilimo kilitangamana na wakulima mbalimbali kuandaa Makueni County Edition.
Na wahimiza wana Makueni na Wakenya wote kwa jumla kuitazama kipindi cha Boresha Kilimo kila Jumamosi kuanzia saa 6:30.
Karibu kwenye mitindo ya kipwani. Yaani unavyoona basi niko kipwani pwani tu.
Unapopika inatakana uko half cooked.
Tui ni nazi imekunwa, inawekwa kwa hii samaki juu. Wewe mwenyewe ukiangalia samaki, mtazamaji, utaona vile inapendeza.
Niko Kilifi, niko katika kaunti ya Kilifi, Magavazi ya Gede.
Samaki mwenyewe ndio huyo kidogo. Samaki kidogo iko na maajabu kwa sababu ni tumbo yake iko juu ya kichwa.
Karibu sana kwenye mitindo ya kipwani hapa KUTV, ukiwa nami nahodha mwendesha chombo si mwingine bali ni bibie ua linalonukia na kuvutia, Waridi Samu.
Stream live mitindo ya kipwani on our KUTV Facebook page every Saturday 4 p.m.
Welcome to Children's Corner. Welcome to
Children's Corner.
Children's
Corner.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with Omondi Otieno. Still watching KTV Primetime News. Now on 29th May, that is yesterday, that is the year 2022, obviously, it marked the end of the presidential, senatorial and parliamentary candidates registration. And that was also the launch of the official launch of the campaign period. And the official campaign period is now on. And I don't know if we're expecting the same old, the alleged trickle-down economic model and the popular bottom-up economic model. And we're here to discuss about the nitty-gritties of our politics here in the country, and no other person better to do that than Duncan Omwami, who is a research fellow and political analyst right here on KUTV. Bwana Omwami, karibu sana to the station.
Thank you, Bwana Martin. It has been long that we met here in the station, and thank you again once we've met.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Let's go straight to it. And, this takes me back to the end of last year when the Deputy President in a press conference stated that he had not or was not campaigning. And now the official period of campaigns has started. This is the official time for the campaigning. So everybody now is expected to go out there and woo the voters. Do we expect to see anything different from what we have been seeing that the two major political kingpins, or rather the top two contenders, have been at this game for quite some time? Are we seeing any change coming in the political scene, in your view?
Okay, thank you, Martin. This is never the same as the politics that we've ever seen before. I anticipate that there is a great change, and we equally could be able to see the change coming out. And out of this, you can see the political regimes that are being formed, the two camps that are being made, they are becoming so relevant to the political domain of the 2022 election. Here comes that they're coming up with the different strategies of campaigning. Last time you can see the DP Ruto was saying like, oh, he is not anticipating to campaign. Equally, you could see this come from the Right Honorable Raila Odinga saying, no, he is not going to vie for the presidency of the 5th president of the Republic of Kenya. But now the tune has been changing over and over. The political game plan is coming clear. Here we could see that the two regimes, allow me call them, and the two camps that are coming up, they're coming up with different strategies. You can equally look at the new approaches that they've got into this through the process of how they selected their running mates. You could see whatever Raila Odinga did, whatever Ruto did. And equally to this, we can say that the two different camps are becoming so clear that in one camp, like if I start from the Kenya One Alliance, one they have started by the strategies using the bottom-up strategy where they're targeting the youth. They equally wants to involve the common mwananchi into the politics of this time round, which has not been before. And equally, they have a narrative of the hustler nation coming up. But when we look at the aspect of this Azimio or coalition or Azimio alliance coming up, their strategies are a bit different, where we can see how they formed an alliance to select or to elect, or maybe, let me use the word, to select their candidate, the running mate. Equally, if you look at whatever they're doing, they've involved the political professionals coming on board, and equally they're targeting the business class. And I'm finding this different from the previous politics that we've had, and therefore I could say that there is a new approach coming up, the way we see things go and how the things unfold into this politics of 2022.
All right. And as we talk about both the common mwananchi and the business class of people in the society, the issue of land injustices has been brought to the table in recent campaign meetings. And as we've heard in our bulletin tonight, where the victims of post-election violence are coming out to warn politicians not to use that, because there are repercussions. And we have history in this particular country. And land itself is a very sensitive issue in the country, bearing in mind there are people who are facing land injustices, people who are yet to receive title deeds to the lands that they should own. How is this approach really meant to work in the country, or should really the politicians be very careful? Because I am seeing this situation where they want to get to something that is at the heart of the voters. At the same time, something that is in their heart is in their heart. That means it's very emotive and it can cause tension in a few days to come or in this particular moment. What are your thoughts about this issue of bringing land injustices to the table, and people facing this particular issue that many people want actually to shy away from? And how can you deal with this issue without politicizing it in the first place? Because it is there.
Okay, Martin, back to you. This problem of land injustices never started just yesterday. We can look at how the different regimes that have taken power in Kenya have got different issues with the land aspects. If you look at the presidential bids that have come since 1963 to now 2022, we look at all these politics resolves around land itself. Land is a prime factor here of production, where everyone is looking at land as the property that each and every person could want to earn. Depending on the population rise and depending on the economic status of our country, people are yearning to have settled or to have somewhere to put their heads or to have something like they can have as a property for themselves. We've tied so much rights of property into this land, and therefore the politicians have found this as a political entry, a political interesting factor that they could find for themselves to gain politics or to gain popularity, and also be at the interest of the people so that they can find a looping hole that they can sway for politics and equally ask for votes from the Kenyans. Here, when we look at the land is a prime to the African context, where the key issues that are coming about here are associated with the aspect that we as a developing countries still were poor. We believe that if I own a property related to land, then all could be equal and all will be solved. To look into the politics, like how can we resolve these issues along the politics, I believe that there is still an issue with our land acts. I believe there is still some politics that is being played. Politics on land is dangerous politics that we need to look into. Once, if we refer to the examples of these politicians when they get to power, why do most of them we find all over the news, all over the magazines, they're written, they're having land probes, land issues, because they believe that having gained property, this is where all their assets will be best. But to resolve this, I believe that a strong regime needs to put it very clear, and land title deeds need to be given to the right persons, to their ownership, and a maximum share of what kind of piece of land one should be owning should equally become clear to the Kenyans. So if we do this, I believe that the politics of land will go, and the injustices we see could go far away from us. Let the due be given to the people who believe in it or who deserve the due they need. So I believe that the promises that we get from the politicians that, no, I'll do this to you, I'll bring and give, maybe buy a given piece of land from the government, give it to you, I don't believe that could work. That is just politics of the game that they want to cling themselves into power.
All right.
Yes.
Yesterday, being the 29th of May, marked the deadline for the presidential, senatorial, and parliamentary candidates registration, and officially opening up the campaign period. And a few popular names are not in the shortlisted candidates. The likes of Ruben Kigame, Wajakoya, and Mwangi Wairia, who have come out to express their dissatisfaction with the process. And interesting to note is that we don't have Kalonzo in this particular list. And the big question here is, as we continue to go through this particular process, are we expecting Kalonzo to, again, from history, maybe to Peter katikati yao and clinch something in the government? What strategy do you think Kalonzo is putting on board, bearing in mind that his name is not particularly there? And do you think he's going to pursue that, or is he maybe on the fence, ready to support either of the two major factions?
Okay, thank you, Martin, for the same. For the political bid for presidency for Kalonzo, I believe that this is a very tough game, and equally, if we can realize from the magazines or the news presenters or the writers of the script, they're finding it wrong. They are feeling, or they're getting to become so much confused of the strategy that Honorable Kalonzo is using. But to believe into the aspect that is happening, I want to say that Kalonzo must have lost the script long time ago, where you find Kalonzo was into the system. Kalonzo have served as the vice president under the late Mwai-Kibaki's regime. And through this, I know at the moment, we cannot see Kalonzo anywhere closer to the presidential bid, because at the first time when he had the opportunity, he must have lost the script, and he must have failed strongly to strategize for the power take from his successor by that time, late Honorable Mutegi.K.Martin. I don't believe anywhere closer that Kalonzo will come and bring his bid or be closer to any power. The political dispensations that are coming up between the Azimio and the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, any that will be able to take, maybe they could consider Kalonzo having their shares equally the same. I don't know if this is the game that Kalonzo is playing, but what I'm sure he must have strongly failed to have strategized for the same position. If we look at the example of the DP president, whatever he has done, he has strongly strategized and remained relevant to the political game of succeeding President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Right.
This is what Kalonzo must have failed. But let me believe Kalonzo is a good leader. That one we can be able to look into. We can see from how his records are. But one, I can say he may not be somewhere closer to any of the powers unless sympathy or unless he maybe decides to decamp to any of the two camps. So here,
maybe to interrupt you, is he probably banking on, maybe his die fans and die-hard fans, or looking at this particular issue where he probably knows he has a number of people following him and how that can twist the elections in one way or the other. Is he waiting to pitch the right moment to these two major factions? Because everything is silent right now, but the followers as usual, and the Wiper Democratic Party is strict to insist that this guy is gonna be on the ballot. Is it virtually? Is it in real sense?
Okay, Martin, we can see it from the presidential bids that were heard up. Kalonzo's name didn't feature in. Probably he must be somewhere thinking about how he's going to be relevant into this politics. Genuinely, if we say out Kalonzo, maybe he has measured himself and examined that he could not be able to be at a position to vie for presidency. He has looked at the supporters he have, and these supporters may be forcing him or putting him so bold that no, we as the die-hard sycophants to you, we need you to come up. But looking at the strategy that is playing, Martin, I want to clearly tell you that Kalonzo still lacks a stand.
All right.
And equally, if maybe this could happen, we may not still know that it could be a political game plan. We understand that Kalonzo pendas getting katikati. But this time round, I don't believe that could happen unless the nitty-gritties of the two different dispensations, or no, the two different scenarios that are coming from the two camps accept him.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be supported from below by your fans.
Yeah.
It's another thing to be supported from above. And this year we have seen something that is not very new to the Kenyan political scene, where the president endorses a presidential candidate who will succeed him, the likes of Daniel Moi, when he vouched for the current president Uhuru Kenyatta. And when we go after the Mwai Kibaki's regime, he goes silent and he gives a space for Kenyans to choose for themselves. And right now we're seeing what happened to the current president being vouched for by the late president, former president Daniel Arap Moi. Now the current president Uhuru Kenyatta is vouching, and it's quite in the open that he's vouching for Raila Amolo Odinga. Is this something that we are seeing giving Raila more power and an upper hand in this particular contest?
Okay, thank you, Martin. Power endorsement, if we can look at it, long time started back from the time of the politics of the first president of the Republic of Kenya. It cascaded down to the second president, Daniel Moi, where he clearly mentioned in the public domain that he was supporting the Right Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta. And looking at the time of Mwai Kibaki, we didn't see this. Kibaki went silent on the same. And now we are seeing this come up during the time of Uhuru Kenyatta. This power endorsement, I don't believe that this could be a scenario that could be coming from our leaders, especially the president, endorsing someone who should take power from him or after him. This is the political democracy where we're given the rights of the citizens to elect the kind of leaders we want. Martin, looking at this aspect of President Uhuru endorsing the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, I find it unique and equally to the same. I could want to say that President Uhuru Kenyatta must have made a very big mistake. Coming clearly that you can see it is coming at a time when they had already made a political marriage between himself and his deputy president back in 2013.
And a strong one, we must agree.
Very, very strong.
Okay.
But now when we see the politics change, 2017 politics coming, we're seeing like they're going back to the re-election. And as they call it, it came, the Supreme Court of Kenya nullified the elections. They went back. And again, Uhuru Kenyatta and President Uhuru Kenyatta and Ruto coming back to win or take the second term for themselves. I don't know where the script started or the rain started beating them, but here we can see I'm thinking this endorsement that is coming up from President Uhuru Kenyatta to Raila Odinga, it could be a problem that you understand we have a problem between the president and the DP on how they're running the government affairs, where the DP has been sidelined, is claiming that he has been sidelined, he has been left behind. But I feel strongly this could be maybe a way President Uhuru Kenyatta is paying back to his deputy maybe of whatever must have happened. We don't know still. It has not come out clearly what happened between the president and the deputy for their marriage to have come to an end abruptly and for them having vowed to the Kenyans that they're going to perform. But we believe now this is coming differently. But when I look at the impact that is coming out from this endorsement, I'm believing this is strongly the Kenyans is we who are feeling the problem. Where we look at the economic crisis. Remember, look at the dispensation that Uhuru Kenyatta served as the president in the Republic of Kenya. We've had the worst, and we're having the worst economic crisis. Life is escalating, is going up there. Things are rising, but we're not finding anyone coming out to tell us the truth or telling us why is life suddenly changing. This could be an effect of whatever is coming up, and I believe clearly if the president truly is endorsing the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, it could not work for the same. Or for the same, I believe is trying to become relevant back to his politics. But the crisis that I know could come out of this, I believe from the politics we've had from the nation, from the different divides from our country, you see people are cursing differently this regime. And people, if it comes out, people may want to personally fail the regime of the President Uhuru Kenyatta. People may decide to vote out of sympathy because of whatever they've seen come out from the regime these two people have had, the president and the deputy president. And equally, I'm finding it so unique that Uhuru Kenyatta endorsing Raila Odinga could be a strategy of popularizing Ruto. And you can see of the recent past how Ruto has been able to come out lively and is becoming so strong, is becoming so powerful as we could expect. And equally, I can see this aspect of Uhuru endorsing Raila Odinga as a strategy of saving the Mount Kenya politics. You can see, like, if you analyze very well or look at the politics coming out, the DP is becoming powerful, and the president believes that if DP takes it, it may be tough for the Mount Kenya people to take it back. And equally, I'm believing that the president just wants to find himself relevant to the politics after his retirement.
As we wind up, unfortunately, we're coming to the close of this discussion. We have like a minute to go. Let's talk about this very sensitive issue of the youth in politics. And we have always had these conversations that the youth are now into politics. but the youth, that the majority of the youth in politics, in active politics, are on the margin. Youth is 18 to 35. They're on the margin of youth exit, if I may call it that. So what can we do, and what is the role of the youth? Can the youth step up into politics? And those that don't step up into active politics, what can they do? And I want you to take this opportunity to look at the viewer tonight and talk to them, talk to the young people about what they need to do. Apart from just stepping out into active politics, what can they do to make sure that this country is a youth-led nation?
Okay, thank you, Martin. If to get this to the viewers, I could preferably say that it is high time that the youths need to organize themselves and find the right way of we getting into power. We're looking at the different governments that have come. We're having a difference of how the youths are being handled into the politics itself. We can realize first the youths are left behind in the politics. They are the supporters of the many regimes. Even we look at now the bid between Martha Karua, President Raila Odinga, and Martha Karua. This is purely based on the social class and equally based on the economic group. But when we look at the group that is coming up between the Ruto and the Rigathi bid, the youths are here. And they're becoming so powerful looking into these positions. We're trying, or this government is trying to bring the youth on board. But equally, I want to acknowledge that the previous governments have not been active on the youths. I don't know if we are not ripe enough to become into the political domains or make the enough decisions that can be able to run this country. But what I believe is once the opportunity is given to the youths who are organized, we are able to get the script right, looking at the age gap and looking at the aspect of innovation, looking at the critical and creative thinking that is embedded between the youths, and equally finding it easier for decision making and being active in performance. The youths are there, but we never given this opportunity. I believe one time the government that will take power could be a youth power that will be able to determine the success of the youths in running the affairs of this nation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Bwana Omame, for joining us tonight and giving us an insight on the state of politics. We shall have you back soon to keep this conversation going. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Martin.
All right.
It is my pleasure.
Okay, now we take a short break right here on KUTV Primetime News. We'll be back with much more. Stay tuned, and we're here.
KUTV, in conjunction with Kenyatta University Funeral Home, is now offering death announcements immediately following our news bulletins at 7 p.m. At this sorrowful time, as you share in your grief, allow us to communicate your announcement of your loved one on KUTV in both Kiswahili and English. For more details, kindly inquire at the KU Funeral Home Service Desk or call 0736 928 380 or dial 020-359-9054.
Kenya kuna aina tofauti za hali ya anga ambazo huboresha au kuwa changamoto kwa wakazi wa eneo. Kaunti ya Makueni imeibuka kuwa bora katika masuala ya kilimo licha ya hali ya kiangazi.
Maembe huwa tunazalisha nyingi, lakini mtambo kuna ile capacity ambapo hawezi pitisha na hatuwezi chukua maembe yote. In fact, tutakuta tunachukua 5-6%.
Kaunti hii imejikakamua kwa udi na uvumba kutegua kitendawili. Ukambani kuna ukame.
Tambo maji ilikuwa ngumu kupata kiasi, kwa sababu kama ni pale kwa mto inapita tu inaenda. Lakini sasa hii kama imesimamishwa itakuwa rahisi kwetu.
Basi kikosi cha Boresha Kilimo kilitangamana na wakulima mbalimbali kuandaa Makueni County Edition.
Na wahimiza wana Makueni na Wakenya wote kwa jumla kuitazama kipindi cha Boresha Kilimo kila Jumamosi kuanzia saa 6:30.
not the gain you attain by sudden flight. Don't you know that I still care for you? Me flip flop got me needing more and more of you. And me the one to catch you.
Far East, welcome to the empire. Far East, we call it find true love. And you will see what your love has done for me.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with Mutegi.K.Martin. Welcome back. You're still watching KUTV Primetime News, and now we begin our third segment with Health Matters. And on Matters COVID-19, 91 out of 2,371 people tested positive in the last 24 hours. The positivity rate is now at 3.8%. The total infections have risen to 324,859. However, 63 patients have recovered, pushing the cumulative recoveries to 318,524. Fortunately, no deaths have been recorded, and the death toll remains at 5,651. And still on health matters, the Council of Governors has called on the Ministry of Health to establish systems that would fight and do away with drug theft in hospitals following reports of stolen essential and expensive cancer drugs at Kenyatta National Teaching and Referral Hospital last week.
The loss of cancer drugs worth 5 million Kenya shillings at the Kenyatta National Hospital has raised concerns in the country, with the Council of Governors being at the forefront to address the matter, which Kisumu Governor Professor Nyang'nyong'o termed as a well-orchestrated effort to deny citizens their realization of right to health, primarily by people entrusted with the duty of care.
We as the Council of Governors condemn, in the strongest terms possible, the inhumane actions that negate the ongoing reform initiative by both the national and county governments to make access to quality essential medicines and medical supplies a right for all Kenyans at all times.
According to Nyong'o, theft was rampant in the private wing, ICU and cancer center, and that medicine got lost on transit from pharmacy and stores to the wards, where a syndicate involving porters, security and healthcare workers has been identified in these thefts.
A syndicate involving porters, security and healthcare workers has been identified to be involved in these thefts. 4. The patients are denied care due to such evil practices by health personnel who have been sworn to essentially discharge their duties ethically.
On the 25th of May 2022, 6 Kenyatta National Hospital staff were charged with stealing cancer drugs worth over 5 million Kenya shillings. They, however, denied the charges and were freed on 1 million shillings bond or an alternative cash bail of 500,000 Kenya shillings.
We therefore call upon the Minister of Health to do the following. 1. Establish systems to curb the theft immediately. 2. Enhance systems to enable end-to-end visibility of the use of all drugs in the hospital.
It is seriously affecting our patients, and as has been pointed out by the chair of the health committee, our patients have actually been talking about sometimes the wrong drug being used or drug stockouts. And at this point, we ask the government to ensure that we, working together with KEMSA, that we no longer have drug stockouts.
The Council of Governors have condemned the theft and asked the Health Ministry to improve supply chain infrastructure information systems, as well as ensure that there is no conflict of interest of those who manage the cancer unit at the Kenyatta National Hospital and private facilities, which in the long run also exposes patients to life-threatening risks and at times drug resistance for failure to adhere to prescribed dosage.
Kenyatta National Hospital is preferred for cancer treatment in the country due to its low cost as compared to private hospitals, which charge more for screening, radiotherapy and chemotherapy. The disappearance of cancer drugs in this facility could only mean that Kenyans will be forced to dig deeper into their pockets in order to afford cancer treatment. Anodida, KUTV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Anodida, for that report. And talking about Kenyans digging deep into their pockets, a total of 3.6 million bank accounts were closed in 2021, according to the new data from the Central Bank of Kenya, CBK. The data from the 2021 Bank Supervision Annual Report shows a decline from the previous year report. The active shutdown of accounts by Kenyans points to the strain during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Data from the 2021 Bank Supervision Annual Report shows the number of deposit accounts from 39 of Kenya's commercial banks, which fell from 69.9 million a year earlier to 66.3 million accounts. The 19.1% decline in the number of accounts has been linked to the closure of dormant accounts along by customers during the year. This is the first recorded slump in the number of deposit accounts held by commercial banks in a Central Bank of Kenya data set going back to 2006. While the report does not give an attribution to the closure of accounts by customers, the active shutdown of accounts by Kenyans likely points to the strain caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, affecting customers' cash flows and ability to maintain savings. Overall deposit accounts held in both banks and 14 microfinance banks fell by 4.8% or by 3.5 million to 69 million accounts from 72.5 million accounts in 2020. Nevertheless, deposit accounts in microfinance banks rose by 2.7% to 2.665 million accounts from 2.594 million accounts in 2020. Pauline Joy, KUTV.
And in other news, the Mombasa County government has partnered with an international organization, Bloomberg Philanthropies, to implement road safety initiatives aimed at reducing road carnage by over 50% by the year 2025. The initiative is being implemented in 28 cities around the world, with a special focus on reducing speed by partnering cities with global road safety experts.
From Trade and Tourism, Aribusana, thank you very much.
The partnership between Mombasa County Government and Bloomberg Philanthropies, an international organization, is aimed at implementing road safety initiatives and reducing road carnage by over 50% by the year 2025. The announcement was made during the 3rd Global Ministerial Conference on Road Safety organized by the World Health Organization (WHO) in low and middle income countries around the world. According to the organization, about 1.3 million people die on the world's roads every year. In Kenya, almost 4,000 people die every year through road accidents. According to a report by the National Transport and Safety Authority (NTSA) and the National Police Service released in January this year, a total of 4,571 people lost their lives in road accidents last year compared to 3,963 in the year 2020.
So we recognize that designing streets for all road users and not just vehicles is one way to prevent road traffic fatalities. We also know that speed kills. The faster the car is going, the more likely is the severity of the crash and the severity of the injury and likely death. So through this initiative, we'll be working with the 28 cities around the world to reduce speeds on their roads so that we can ensure that there aren't those crashes which incur fatalities and injuries.
The initiative is being implemented in 28 cities around the world with a special focus on reducing speed by partnering cities with global road safety experts. Mombasa is among the select to be supported over the course of the next 3.5 years to continue working on road safety and reduce road traffic fatalities and injuries. Mombasa County Transport Executive Taufik Balala alluded to the fact that the country needs to change its mind in the designing of roads.
The main emphasis is not for you to be in a road accident and get to the hospital. We are trying to stop you from getting to the hospital. So we're trying to avoid that accident from happening. And to avoid it, we have to take some measures on the roads, safety measures on the roads, so those things don't happen.
Bloomberg Philanthropies has previously partnered with Kenya from 2010 to 2014, working in Thika and Naivasha roads on the same program, though at a different phase of the program. Imbinda Masi, KU TV.
And in the world of sports, it is an all-Kenyan semi-final in the ongoing Africa Women's Volleyball Championship when KCB Women's Volleyball tackled Kenya Pipeline in Tunisia. It proves to be yet another challenge in foreign territory, coming just after 2 days after KCB conquered Kenya Prisons 3-0 in their quarterfinals. Kenyans are keen to take their title back home with a 17-year wait since Kenya Prisons' explosive win in 2013 in the championships. In local football, AFC Leopards head coach Patrick Osems is confident that his team can finish among the top 5 in the 2021-2022 FKF Premier League finals. Leopards are currently in position 6, 2 points behind City Stars, with only 2 matches left against City Stars and Nzoia Sugar. The KPL Football League ends on June 11th. And now to international sports news is that France Sports Minister Amélie Oudéa-Castéra has today blamed Liverpool over the chaos that erupted moments before UEFA Champions League final against Real Madrid in Paris. The French government had faced criticism from the press and UK politicians over police handling of the match on Saturday. Amélie, however, said that the Liverpool had failed to organize their supporters who came to Paris. Well, we have come to the end of our bulletin here on KTV Primetime News, and allow me to talk to my country people, Kenyans, my fellow Kenyans. The official time for the campaign is now on, and politicians are gonna go to the next gear to make sure they woo you, and you are the most important person in this particular process. So take care of yourself, take care of your fellow voter. No fighting this time round. Whenever you are called upon to stand for truth, make sure you stand for the truth, vote wisely, and also be part of this particular process wisely. We come to the end of our conversation and our news tonight. Make sure you get to join us tomorrow with Emmanuel Kutosi as he continues to bring you up to speed with happenings in the country and beyond. Our sign language interpreter is Moses Gitonga. Mine is Mutegi.K.Martin. Have a good night.